All right, we have 10 waivers we've got to go over going into week 5. We've got to be looking at some of these guys who really outperform themselves in week 4 and who may have good situations going into week 5. You guys have got to get on these waiver claims and get some of these guys on your team. The first guy we're talking about here is Dontavian Wicks. We saw what happened when Jordan Love was able to come back to the fold. Boy, he was almost electric, almost 400 yards passing, and he had a plethora of weapons to go out there. Now with Christian Watson injured, we got to see who is going to step up. We know Jaden Reed's going to step up. Dontavian Wicks was able to step up last week. We look at what Wicks did against the Vikings. He had 5 receptions, 78 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like I said, with Watson injured, look for Wicks to really step up and to be able to shine for this offense. He was actually one of my sleepers, one of my breakouts coming into the 2024 season, and he really hasn't lived up to the expectations until last week. We saw what could happen, especially now with Watson out of the fold. There's going to be more repetitions. Now, I think he's going to leapfrog Romeo Dubes for primary targets. I think it's going to be all Jaden Reed, all Dontavian Wicks. This is the time to go ahead and go get this guy, go get him on your team, trade for him if you have to, and if for some odd reason he's on your waivers, you have got to go get this guy. With Jordan Love at the helm, everybody could be absolutely electric for this offense. Coming in, another guy we want to talk about here is going to have to be Joe Flacco. We have to see Anthony Richardson end up going out there. Looked like he had a kind of a hip pointer type of injury. I don't know what he's doing, just running the football, lowering his shoulder, thinking he can run over some type of defensive backs or linebackers. And he's going to end up getting hurt. When he went out, he was back onto the sideline, though. He kind of wanted to go in, but he said it was more of like a mutual type of decision not to let him go back in. I think most of the deal is that the Indianapolis Colts had this game in the bag against the Steelers, and they didn't need to risk Anthony Richardson going back in there. But in my mindset, I'm like, really, did you want to risk him going back in? Joe Flacco is actually running the offense better than Anthony Richardson, and I know they want to kind of sit back and say, oh, okay, Joe Flacco, whatever, we want to get our young guy in there. But let's look at what Joe Flacco was able to do against the Steelers. He ended up having 168 yards passing with 2 touchdowns, leading up to a 62% completion percentage. And I'm just letting you guys know right now, if Richardson misses any type of time, Flacco is a must add. He's had 2 touchdowns in 8 consecutive games. Guys, going back until the season prior, I mean, he's great. He is what he is. Going back, he was playing with the Browns when Watson got injured. Now he's over here playing. He came in here through 2 touchdowns over here when Richardson got injured. He is a good, serviceable quarterback. People forget how good Joe Flacco was going all the way back to the Ravens days. He's able to lead an offense. Now, he's not this prolific type of fantasy guru, but he can get you a lot of points, and especially if you're an Anthony Richardson holder, you need something else. You need that kind of safety blanket. I think Joe Flacco can definitely give you that. Next guy we're talking about here is going to be Kareem Hunt. We saw Isaiah Pacheco has been out. You know, Carson Steele really working that workload. You've got Samaje Perine, but you know what they said? Let's go ahead and get Kareem Hunt into the mix. We wasn't going to sure how many carries he's going to get. We'll put him out there. We'll see what he does, and then we'll kind of play by feel. Well, guess what? He had all of the carries. Had 14 carries last week. Just look at what he did last week against these Chargers. 14 carries, 69 yards. Didn't have a touchdown, but he is clearly the lead back. And with Rashee Rice's injury, do they go back to a running style type of game to where they're kind of working on almost I wouldn't want to say a 3-headed monster because it's really not that serious, but I think Kareem Hunt is definitely worth a stash. The only really good pass catching options that they have right now will be Travis Kelce and Xavier Worthy. I'm not worried about Juju Smith-Schuster or any of these guys coming in here. I think they might be leaning on a lot of the running game. If they do, Kareem Hunt could be in for a big workload at least until Isaiah Pacheco is back onto the field. So he's definitely worth an add in my opinion. Next guy we're talking about here is going to have to be Tank Bigsby. Now, we saw that with the shoulder injury, Travis Etienne ended up going out. Tank Bigsby came in. Etienne ended up coming back into the game, so he should be all good to go. But I think this is going to be more of a workload. Tank Bigsby actually produced Travis Etienne last week, and I know last season a lot of people were saying, well, Tank Bigsby literally statistically the worst running back in the NFL. Coming in this season, I know he's a running back out of Auburn. I liked his film when he came into the NFL. We were doing a lot of breakdowns on him coming into the NFL draft. He's got talent. He could do the damn thing. Let's just be honest with you. And he's showing what he can do. Let's look at what Tank Bigsby did last week against the Texans. 7 carries, 90 yards, and 0 touchdowns. Could be headed for that timeshare situation with Travis Etienne as well. I was trying to say earlier before. So even in a timeshare situation, let's just hope that Trevor Lawrence gets better than what he's doing. He actually had a decent showing last week. If he can continue to produce, then this run game could really be efficient. And I think with Tank Bigsby there, putting somebody maybe in your flex position, you could be a lot worse. And if God forbid something does happen, a long-term injury to Travis Etienne, you got yourself a stud in Tank Bigsby. I would add him definitely on your waivers. Next guy we're talking about here is going to be Trey Sermon. Now we know that Jonathan Taylor went out and he's known to have a high ankle sprain. Those things tend to linger, and possibly missing a couple weeks, Trey Sermon could be a good add for your team. He wasn't able to do really a lot last week, but let's look at what he did against the Steelers. He only had 5 carries, 8 yards with that, so he wasn't able to do a ton with that. But with Jonathan Taylor's ankle injury, you could be looking at a really big situation to where you can have a running back for a team with a Joe Flacco at quarterback that could probably get you a lot of points. So somebody maybe you could add it to your flex. I'm hoping you don't have to add him as your RB1 or RB2, because then you're definitely in a bad situation. But Trey Sermon, he's got talent. He's kind of been all the way around, whether it's been the 49ers or the Eagles. He's kind of been all over the place. But maybe he finds himself a home here in temporary type of resolution there with Jonathan Taylor sitting there nursing a high ankle sprain. It could be a lot worse. If you're in need of a running back, maybe Trey Sermon could be the answer that you need until maybe some other your running backs come back healthy and strong. So the next guy we're talking about, I'm just going to say Tucker Kraft, guys. He's been on my waiver wire list for like the past 2 weeks. I've been telling you guys, even before the NFL season started, Tucker Kraft will overtake Luke Musgrave and be the dominant tight end that I know he can be. Well, sure enough, he did overtake Luke Musgrave. He is clearly the #1 tight end. I didn't expect him to be the #1 tight end in fantasy football last week, but I'm telling you, he's doing the damn thing himself. He can catch the football. He can do everything. And with Jordan Love at the helm, he's rocking and rolling. And don't forget, like we were talking about Wicks earlier, with Christian Watson out, they're going to rely even more on Tucker Kraft, Wicks, Jaden Reed, all of these guys. I like it. Look at what he was able to do last week against the Vikings. 6 receptions, 53 yards, and a touchdown. And like I said, more targets is going to be going around to Kraft, and he is the clear #1 tight end. I love all of these pass-catching weapons that Jordan Love has to throw to. And if Jordan Love's going to go out there and throw 50-something times for almost 400 yards, yes, I want all the pieces of the pie that I possibly can get. That's Jaden Reed, that's Dontavian Wicks, that's Tucker Kraft. I want all of these guys. Put them into your lineup. But if Tucker Kraft is on your waivers, go do yourself a favor. Go get yourself some Tucker Kraft. Another guy we're going to go over here. I'm just saying, Wan'Dale Robinson. I mentioned this last week with Wan'Dale. He's a PPR monster. The dude's getting a lot of pass catching options, even on the opposite side over there of Malik Neighbors. He's still able to produce for you. If you're in a half PPR or full PPR league, this guy needs to be on your roster. What did he do last week against the Cowboys? 11 receptions, 71 yards, no touchdowns. But like I said, he's PPR gold at this point. Absolute gold. He's getting you all the receptions, let alone with 0 yards, 11 receptions in a full PPR league. That's 11 points at the wide receiver position, possibly in your flex spot. I say go get that. That is an amazing production from a wide receiver, especially from the Giants team. So moving right along here, we're talking about Xavier Legette. This is a wide receiver that's really he's taken over. Adam Thielen ended up getting hurt. Now he's able to get these #1 type of reps wide receiver. He's on the field quite often, and he's able to produce, was able to have a nice stat line last week against the Bengals. Just look at what he was able to do. 6 receptions, 66 yards, and a touchdown. And like I was saying, without Adam Thielen, Legette is getting those starter minutes, and that's the minutes that you want from any of these wide receivers. He's uber talented. Wide receiver out of South Carolina, big body type of wide receiver, can high point the football, really physical at the point of attack, and we all know how he talks. And that's always a big plus in my book. But Xavier Legette, man, now that Andy Dalton's coming in here, you have a pass catcher or a passer that can get out there to the pass catchers. Xavier Legette could have himself a nice season. Get this guy into your lineup. Next guy we're talking about here is going to be Zach Ertz. This is a tight end I was telling you guys again before the season. Everybody was really on Ben Sinnott. I said, no, Zach Ertz is going to be the guy. Cliff Kingsbury loves this guy. He loved him when he was over there with the Cardinals. Now he loves him over here with the Commanders, and Jaden Daniel is starting to get better. Just look at what he was able to do last week against the Cardinals. 3 receptions, 22 yards, no touchdowns, but he is a streamable option, and he's getting a 10% target share at the moment. Now, Jaden Daniels, again, I tell you guys with rookie quarterbacks all the time, the safety blanket is the tight end position, and he's definitely utilizing Zach Ertz as a safety blanket from time to time. Now, Jaden Daniels likes to run the football, likes to air it out long to Terry McLaurin. I get it all, but look, We're not saying that you're getting a number one tight end in this issue, but you're getting a streamable option, right? With the cockadoodle that it is as a tight end position, he's been on the brink of tight end one every single week. So it's just only a matter of time. If he ends up getting more introduced into this offense, he could easily be a number one tight end for you, and you can get him on the waivers right now. Go smash that, set it, and forget it. Another guy we're calling about here, let's talk about Darnell Mooney. I've been trying to tell you guys about Darnell Mooney quite a bit, and he's the last guy that I'm going to talk about today. He's number 10. Kirk Cousins trusts this guy. He could even had a touchdown last week that he ended up not being able to come down with against the Saints. Look at what he was doing against the Saints, though. He had 3 receptions, 56 yards. Like I said, a reliable option for Kirk Cousins, and he has a 20% target share on the opposite side of Drake London. Kyle Pitts, absolute cockadoodle. I don't care. I am done with Kyle Pitts. I don't want to recommend Kyle Pitts for you guys anymore. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. I thought it was just maybe a quarterback issue. No, you've got Kirk Cousins as the quarterback who brought up there and made TJ Hawkinson a beast, and you can't over there and support Kyle Pitts doing anything over there. This may be more of a Kyle Pitts issue than a quarterback issue. So Darnell Mooney had to step up to the plate. I told you guys, go draft Darnell Mooney. He's going to be a big part. Just look at what Jordan Addison was able to do with the Vikings. I think Darnell Mooney's doing just that. A lot of people are locking in on Drake London, which is leaving Mooney to a lot of one-on-one coverage onto the backfields. And I'm telling you, he's beating these coverages, and he's able to produce a lot with Kirk Cousins. Get him onto your waivers. Guys, make sure you guys are smashing the like button, smash the subscribe button. We're pumping out videos each and every week to help you best set the top of the line lineups each and every week to help you ultimately win a championship. I can't wait to see you guys on the next video. We'll see you guys next time.